So today in class we talked about combining rational numbers in the form of fractions, and we talked about um, combining rational numbers with like denominators, which didn't seem to be any problem at all. But finding that common denominator, I think by the end of today's class went much better. So let's just review that common denominator, finding the common denominator before you do your Khan Academy lesson today. If you did not sign up last week when I asked you to sign up for Khan Academy, here are the Khan Academy codes. So go ahead and write that down just in case you need to sign in to uh, the right block. I'll give you a few minutes to write that down. Okay. You can always rewind and look at those codes again if you need to. So I'm going to move on. Okay, so if we are working with rational numbers and they have unlike denominators, we have 4 steps that we need to do each time. So step 1, and this would probably be a good idea for you to write it down so you can check your steps each time. You're going to check the denominator. You need to check that denominator to see if you have like denominators. If you don't, then you need to find a common denominator. Step 2, you need to check, is it adding? Uh-oh. If it's not adding, then you can't follow your rules. So make sure that it is an adding problem. Step 3, check your signs. Remember, your signs are what tell you whether you're going to add or subtract. And step 4, keep the sign of the largest absolute value. If you can follow these 4 steps, then you can get any of these correct. So let's try that out. If we have negative 1/2 plus negative 3/4, the first thing I'm going to do is check my denominator. Are my denominators the same? They're not the same, so that means I need to find a common denominator. Now, I know that 2 times 2 is 4, so I can leave this one the same and convert this one to a denominator with a 4. So 2 times 2 is 4, and whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4, and don't forget to bring your sign with it. Now, all I need to do now is bring the rest of this problem down. Now, step 1 again, check your denominators. My denominator is the same. So in class we said red rover, bring 4 right over. So we're just going to bring that 4 over because remember, we're never, ever, ever going to add that denominator. Never. Bring it on over. Now, I have brought my denominator over. I check to see if it's adding. It is adding. So that means now I need to check my signs. My signs are the same. Same means sum, which means I need to add. So 2 plus 3 is 5. And now my last step is to keep the sign of the largest absolute value. 3/4 is my largest absolute value, so my answer is also negative. So my answer is negative 5/4. But I noticed that this is an improper fraction. So we talked in class about this says negative 5/4. It also says negative 5 out of 4. And it also says negative 5 divided by 4. So I'm just going to come over here and do 5 divided by 4. 4 will go into 5 one time. I subtract and I get 1. 1 is less than 4, so that means it's my remainder, and I'm going to write it as 1/4 because this is your denominator, 1 out of 4. So my answer is still negative. Don't forget to bring that sign. Negative 1 and 1/4. Negative 1 and 1/4 is my answer. Let's try another one. Let's say this time we have positive 7/8, and we are going to add negative 6/7. My first step is to check the denominators. They're not the same, so I have to find a common denominator. In class, we talked about there's 2 different ways to find a common denominator. We can list multiples, as in 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 3 is 24, and then list the multiples of 7 also until we find a common denominator. Or we can multiply the 2 bottom numbers to find a common denominator. So you can do it either way. It will work either way. I'm just going to go with multiplying these 2 bottom numbers, and that will be 56. So my common denominator here is going to be 56. So how do I get from 8 to 56? Well, I multiply times 7, and then whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So 7 times 8 is 56. 7 times 7 is 49. I'm going to bring that down. Now I need to convert this to something with 56 on bottom. So 7 times 8 is 56. Whatever I do to the bottom, I also do to the top. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring my sign down. 6 times 8 is 48. 7 times 8 is 56. Now I can use my rules. Check your denominators. They're the same. Red Rover, send 56 right over. So we're just going to bring that right on over. Second step, is it addition? It is. So that means I can check my signs. Now I know that this really is positive 49 because it doesn't have a sign, so that means it's positive. I check my signs and I see that they are different. Different signs means I'm going to subtract. So 49 minus 48 is 1. And I keep the sign of the largest absolute value, which is 49. So my answer is positive 1/56. After we worked on this today in class, y'all have been doing a great job on this. I just wanted to review for a little while. So we're going to do a couple of more, and then I think you'll be perfectly ready to do your Khan Academy for today. Let's try another one. This time let's do negative 2/5 minus negative 4/8. The first thing I do is check my denominators. They are not the same, so I have to find a common denominator. Okay, we can list our multiples out, or we can just multiply the two bottom, and 5 times 8 is 40, so that could absolutely be our denominator. So how do I get from 5 to 40? I multiply it times 8. Whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 2 is 16. Don't forget to bring your sign. It's negative 16/40. Now, I'm going to go ahead and bring the rest of my problem down. How do I get from 8 to 40? Well, 8 times 5 is 40. And whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. I've already brought my sign down. So 8 times 5 is 40. And 4 times 4 is 16. Now I can follow my steps. Are my denominators the same? Yes, they are. So red rover, send 40 right over. So we're going to bring that 40 over. My second step is it addition? It is not addition. So I have to change this to make it addition. Now, I don't do anything to this number. Don't touch the first number. But you do the opposite of this would be adding. So if I do the opposite of that, I also have to do the opposite of the next, which would change to positive also. Now, I can check my signs because it is now an adding problem. Check your signs. My signs are different. Different means difference. 16 minus 16 is 0. So my answer is positive 0 over 40. So, can we represent a fraction? Remember how we talked about rational numbers have to be represented as P over Q, where Q is not 0. That was just a way of saying any number over any number except 0. Now here, the P part is 0. That is a fraction. That means I have something with 40 pieces, but none of them are gone. So 0 out of 40. Part over whole. None of them are shaded, or none of them have been taken. So this is okay. It is a rational number because the P over Q, it's only not a rational number if Q is 0. So this is an acceptable answer. Let's try one more. This time, let's do positive 9/12 plus negative 4/5. Let's go ahead and talk how we could find a common denominator. We could list out all of our multiples: 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, 84, 96, 108, 120, 132, 144. That's multiples 1 through 12. And we could do 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Oh, I see a common multiple. I just wanted to represent that for you people at home because we did this in class, and some people like to do it this way, and some people like to just say 12 times 5 is 60. It just so happened that this time it was the same, but there's other times where you may have multiple common denominators. So it just worked out this time to where this is 60. So let's convert this. 12 times 5 is 60, and if I do that to the bottom, I have to do it to the top also. So 5 times 12 is 60, and 5 times 9 is 45. Bring your plus sign down, bring your sign down. 5 times 12 is 60, and whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So I have 48 over 60. Now I can follow my rules. Are my denominators the same? Yes, they are. So bring 60 right over. Now I need to check my signs. This one was positive and this one is negative. My signs are different, so that means I'm going to subtract, and I'm going to get 3. And then I keep the sign of the largest absolute value, which is negative. Now, we also talked in class about the 3's have this special power where if you add the digits of the number and it is a multiple of 3, then that means it's divisible by 3. So 3 is divisible by 3, and 6 plus 0 is 6, and 6 is divisible by 3. So I can reduce this by 3. And I'm going to bring my sign over. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 60 divided by 3 is 20. So my final answer is negative 1/20. I hope this helped you to figure out how to find those common denominators. If you watched my video yesterday, it should be fine. I just didn't think that the worksheet was doable by everyone because it had some whole numbers on it, and we haven't talked about mixed numbers. I thought I would get to that yesterday, but I didn't. So we'll get to that Thursday. And I hope this was helpful. And you have Khan Academy assignments. Again, if you didn't sign up, here are the class codes for Khan Academy. You should have assignments on there. I did go ahead and assign the Khan Academy videos, but I also want you to do the Khan Academy lesson where you actually find the answers. So good luck with that. I hope you have a great Wednesday, and I will see most of you Thursday, and I'll see everybody else when I see you. Bye-bye.